We here at RedWolf TV have been very fortunate to be able to have hands-on experience and review some of the most cutting-edge AEGs that have come out over the years. Guns such as the Crytek Chris Vector AEG, or the various Tokimarui NGRSs that's come out, and of course, some of the surprising industry leaders such as the G&G ARP9. I know you've already read the title, and I probably can imagine what y'all thinking. Wow, Mark, for real? You are 5 days into the month of June for 2021, and you calling this gun the gun of the year already? What makes this gun so special? What makes this gun so special? I thought you'd never ask. Last year, 2020, was pretty sad. Really, there was not a lot to be excited for or to be happy about. And it seemed like being able to play Airsoft again was going to be a lifetime away. But it was in this kind of gloomy backdrop that VFC announced something big. During the MOA show in 2020, VFC announced a plethora of different products. However, I think one of the biggest things that knocked it out of the park for them was their announcement of their cooperation deal with BCM. This announcement was like a bombshell. It instantly blew up and it was the talk of the town. For a moment, it felt like there was something to look forward to again, and there was a lot of excitement again in our community. For those of you who don't know about BCM, they're a veteran-owned company based out of Heartland, Wisconsin. They specialize in making some of the finest AR-15s used by renowned shooters such as Travis Haley and the GBRS group. Now, with their popularity growing over the years, they started to gain a lot of fans, not only in the real steel community, but undoubtedly in our airsoft community as well. So it was with no surprise that when this gun was announced during MOA last year, 2020, everybody was just shook. My jaw dropped because I was like, wow, finally. The BCM Air MCMR is a modern, fully licensed AR-15 M4 style rifle. You'll see meticulous attention to detail poured into this gun and markings placed on all the corresponding locations on the rifle. Everything from the flash hider, the upper and lower receiver, bolt carrier group, handguard, all feature BCM logos and markings. This gun feels exceptionally light. I've handled some real steel BCMs before, and I have to say, those guns, very light as well. This gun here, for an AEG, it doesn't feel like there's any particular point of this gun that is weighing in on me. And I bet they've done some amazing weight savings as well. This rail, very skinny, easy to grip, it feels solid and very nimble. Being an AR platform, all the switches and controls are exactly where you expect them to be. The trigger, the fire selector. This is not an ambidextrous fire selector, mind you, so do keep that in mind. However, everything clicks into place nicely. There's a little bit of resistance and it snaps nicely into the selected mode that you want. It's not loosey-goosey, but it's by no means overly stiff. It feels good, just the right balance. Moving to the stock looks fantastic. Now, before I get in too much about talking about the design and features, allow me to just say, be very frank with all of you guys, I'm a Magpul guy. I love the Magpul designs. I love the look and feel and the function and how it cheeks. That's just my preference. So a lot of times when I come in and I talk about stocks or grips or other accessories, I have a slight Magpul bias in my mind, so I always compare it to that, and that's my point of reference. However, with that said, looking at this stock now, this is the BCM Gunfighter SOP Mod 1. And this guy, I think, looks, feels, how it shoulders, functionality is on par with a lot of the Magpul aesthetic. Now, I was never too big of a fan of traditional SOP mod stocks, and it's because the cheek weld section on normal SOP mod stocks are a little wider. While if I'm not wearing a mask, they provide a great cheek weld. But if I am wearing a mask, I find they're a little cumbersome, especially if I wear a hard mask, like a mesh mask. I can't get a proper cheek because they're just so wide. This one comes in nicely. It's a little bit slim. It makes cheeking the rifle just right. And I do like that there's a bit of a stiffness in adjusting this stock. So you know it's not gonna wobble or get out of place when you're shooting, especially if you have a dominant grip and you're aiming down sights. Fantastic. Now while we're talking about the stock, let's talk about this rear section here. The butt pad area is quite large. You can shoulder it nicely and it just feels good in your shoulder. I've talked about this already. Another reason why I like this large area is because it does facilitate a large space for you to do good cable management. Now let me open it up for you. There's these 2 pins here which holds the butt pad in place. So I'm just gonna open her up by squeezing them together, and it exposes this large cavity. All your long cables with your Titan batteries or whatever LiPo batteries you may have can all fit nicely in this recessed area. Check out the Dean's or T-plug style electric plug here. Ooh, I like it. Last point about the stock. I promise this is the last thing. Also has sling mounts on one side as well as the other. Internally, the MCMR is no slouch. This bad boy's packing a VFC Virgo underneath that BCM skin. The Virgo is currently the best out-of-the-box electronic system packed into any AEG bar none. The Virgo allows you to program your rifle to different modes, including burst, semi-auto, and of course, full auto. It also allows for a piston pre-pull on semi-auto, which greatly improves precision shooting. You can reset your piston by putting it on auto, shoot it a few times, and then you can pull out your battery. It also has automatic voltage detection. It'll beep 3 times for an 11.1 and twice for a 7.4. It also lets you know when the voltage is low. Adding to all the electronics, the cherry on top is the MCMR is pre-installed with maple leaf hop-up and precision inner barrel. The barrel comes at 275 millimeters and 6.05 diameter. To wrap it up, let's play our favorite game, Find the Hop Up. The charging handle, ooh, this is the BCM Gunfighter ambidextrous charging handle, so you can pull it on one side or the other. We're gonna pull the charging handle back to expose the hop up. There it is right there. In the chamber, it's a rotary style hop up. Now I'm going to send that bolt back forward. I'm using 0.2 gram BBs and an 11.1 Titan battery. You know what time it is, and you know where we are. We're at Gun Range Zero, so big thanks to the guys at Gun Range Zero for letting us come back and film. It's like a home away from home. Have to admit, it is pretty nice here. But enough about that. You know what we're about to do. We're about to shoot the BCM Air MCMR. So I'm really excited to get behind that gun and really talk about it with you guys. I think you're gonna love it. I shot a little bit before we started, so I'm gonna keep my thoughts towards the end before we go back to the studio. However, what I wanna start with is the gun has a programmable gearbox. That means it has 3-round burst and full auto. And I'm gonna teach you guys how to program it before we shoot. So programming the MCMR revolves around holding your trigger down and using the fire selector. How you do that is you put it on semi and you hold your trigger down for about 10 seconds or so. Now, I'm gonna just show you that the gun is clear. There's no rounds in there. Okay, so now I have my fire selector put on semi, so you need to put on semi-auto first. I'm gonna hold the trigger down for about 10 seconds or so, and you should hear an audible chime letting you know that you're now set the full auto into 3-round burst. That's it. So now if I take the fire selector and put on auto, there it is. So that is the first mode that you can select, which is semi and 3-round burst. Now, if I want to say I want burst and auto, I put the fire selector back on semi and I hold the trigger down again. Same duration of time. So I'm back on safe. I'm flipping it over to semi. 3-round burst, and on auto, it is just full auto. It is that simple. Now we can shoot. Before we get into the precision portion, I feel like I owe it to you guys to run it a little bit and let you guys know how the trigger feels, the response, My initial thoughts about this gun. I also have two magazines with me, the Stanag that comes with the gun, and this one, a polymer magazine from G&P, just to kind of show that it also works with other standard AEG magazines. I'll swap between the both of them intermittently. Just a slow reload. Don't criticize me, boys and girls. Let's get to shooting. Initial thoughts. The trigger doesn't have a reset for an AEG. Kind of normal. Some of the other AEGs out there have somehow like worked in an electronic reset, but it's okay because when you pull it back, it feels like how an AEG felt to me, like from back in the day. It felt like a mechanical trigger, an AEG mechanical trigger. When you pull it back, it doesn't have much slack, but you know where the rounds are firing. I'm by no means Gambit where I can shoot super fast, but I felt like I can run this gun very fast. Some of the double, triple taps that I was doing was on semi-auto. Throwing it on the burst is really where this thing shines. I have an 11.1 Titan put inside here, and this is so great to have everything all encapsulated. Way to go, gunfighter stock. But enough about the stock. The 3-round burst, I feel like was very fast, very snappy. It just lays it out. And to have the burst function, some people think it's gimmicky. I think it's pretty good. Given the fact that some games, some game types, or even fields don't allow you to lay on the trigger to use full auto a lot. Maybe they give you a second or 2 seconds where you're allowed to full auto. To have a burst function, it just takes a lot of the thinking and the timing out of it. You pull it once, burst. Pull it once, burst. So I quite like it, and this is the exact setup how I would run. I would run a semi-auto with a 3-round burst. And from what I can see, it's pretty consistent and quite tight. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into the precision shooting part. Got the tripod set up, I have my target down range. Let's see how tight of a grouping it's gonna hold. Semi. It has to be said, I know I talked about this trigger before and it doesn't have that reset to it, and it feels like those mechanical triggers you used to see in AEGs where they're smooth, they come back and then they fire. I miss that kind of trigger really. It's a no frills AEG trigger, it's unapologetic for what it is. It doesn't feel like a mouse click, there is some take up to it. But somehow you just know exactly when it's gonna break. And I do feel like my shots are way more consistent. I guess the proof is in the pudding. We'll see later when we go look at the results. Take a few more shots and we're gonna show off that burst. Three-round burst. I think I shot out our target. I'll be right back.
Eventually.
And I'm back. I did shoot out our target. That burst knocked it clean out of its holder. It knocked it out of its holder again. But that means it's time to look at those results. Spoiler alert, pretty good. And go! When I read a lot of marketing material that says, hey, our technology does a certain thing to increase precision downrange or performance or somehow this way or another, I always take that with a grain of salt, given the fact that, at the end of the day, precision in airsoft is, well, subjective at times. However, when I read VFC's material and what they did with the gearbox and how they preset the piston to ensure higher precision for semi-automatic, well, yes, it speaks for itself. So you see these two holing, this was definitely more than a double tap. I shot way more on semi-auto than what is physically showing up on this paper. That means my follow-up shot is nailing the same hole over and over again. I mean, this kind of consistency you do see, but from higher end AEGs. AEGs have already been upgraded. AEGs with precision barrel and hop-up buckings already put in. I could not stop shooting this gun. But before we get into it, guys, why don't you check out some of the other really cool AEGs that we've reviewed on this channel. The Chris Vector from Crytek, the ASG Scorpion Evo, just to name a few. Now let's go back to talk about the MCMR. I know there's such thing as recency bias. However, if I really have to think about it, it's been quite a while, a hot minute, since we've had a release this big. Yes, there are some out there that can compete with the MCMR, but I feel like in every little way, the MCMR has just edged out the competition. When thinking about the aforementioned competition, I have to compare it to what I've just recently experienced with this gun. The fit and finish, top tier. The performance, top notch. And not to mention, it's just dripping in this BCM hotness. I'm pretty hard pressed to find another gun that's out here strutting with so much swagger right now. Yes. While I do wish that this was a 14.5 inch version instead of an 11.5, I feel like the flash hider muzzle brake, no matter how you want to look at it, just looks like a fancy bird cage. And man, why did they have to come with these mags for a gun this cool? Just kind of come with something nicer. But at this point, I am just nitpicking. So, gun of the year? I mean, if the year ended today, I would say probably gun of the year. But there's one more thing I feel like not a lot of people have really mentioned a lot, is through the partnership between VFC and BCM, this license agreement also opened up things like accessories such as the stocks, the grips, the foregrips, the flash hiders, the hand guards, and a world of BCM accessories that, well, I know I've been waiting for as a player. Now we can finally get our hands on them, and VFC did it. So not only do we get a cool gun, we also get a bunch of other cool stuff that spawned due to this gun. So I think more ways than one, it does deserve a title, and it's making a pretty compelling argument for itself here. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section below. What do you think should be the next big release, or something that could compare to the MCMR? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you want cool products like this and many more, don't forget to check our online store at www.redwolfairsoft.com. If you liked this video, give us a like. If you thought it was cool, share it with your friends. If you haven't done so yet, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know every time we upload a new video. Guys, it's been one heck of a video. Until the next episode, I'll catch you next time. Have a good one.